Yo, right here in the small box. I just got to make sure I choose my words correctly so that we can create a conversation about why this is wrong instead of jump in and start bashing and then start assuming things, this, that, and the third. I'm not here for that. I'm not here to add to the drama. I'm not here to add to the We Love Hip Hop drama. I'm not here to add to the GTV drama. That's not my purpose. That is not my goal. So right now, what we're going to do is that we're going to create a conversation around this. So I just want to go ahead and make that clear from the jump before we start talking about this clip right here that a lot of people are literally making videos off of. So I want to make sure that I establish that, and then we can start to break it down and say, okay, I understand that, but this is why you're wrong. Because I know in Toronto, the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I know for a fact in Toronto, when it comes to drama, when it comes to beef, they love it, they feed off of it, and I don't care for y'all entertainment. I'm going to keep it tall with you. Because that kind of entertainment and that level of entertainment is actually damaging to the city. And on top of that, with that damage that you're doing to the city, you're spreading misinformation. And that's exactly what I do not do here. So that's why I want to make sure that I establish that first. So if anybody running around trying to say this, that, and the third, oh, Flex ain't shit because he's talking shit about it. Okay, your heart is weak. Your heart is light. Stay there. Because that's not my intention, all right? I want to go ahead and make that clear. So I want to establish that before we start going ahead and talking about this video right here. We've already had a couple content creators make a video about this, so is what it is to me. Let me add to the conversation by explaining why well, to be honest, majority of it is incorrect. And let's start by saying Toronto is not a monolith. Toronto, in fact, is far from a monolith. Toronto, in fact, is the opposite of a monolith. All right, we are not the authority. Let's go ahead and make that clear right now, okay? And you got to keep this in mind as well when it comes to Toronto. We have cultures here. International cultures, to be specific. We have Asian, like different Asian and Chinese cultures. We have Russian cultures here. We have Italian culture here. We have Indian culture, Caribbean culture. We have a melting pot of so many different cultures within this city, but we do not have our own. All right, I want to go ahead and say that first because none of this is based in culture. Toronto is the complete opposite of a monolith. We do not set trends like that. Do we have some big artists here? Yes. You know, we got Drake, Weeknd, Justin Bieber, Nav. Even though the city doesn't even like Nav, we have Jesse Reyes. The list goes on. If you want to go into our rap legends, go into that too. When you go into Cardinal, Maestro, Michi, Choclair, we already know. But we need to establish that as well from the start, that we are not a monolith. So I want to go ahead and start with that as well. This clout chasing is very dangerous because it's getting to a point where you're constantly shifting the narrative in so many different directions. It's gotten to a point where at some point you got to take that accountability. You got to stand there and say, you know what? Hey, bruh, with the way he's moving, with the actions, the antics, even I got to say it's getting a little ridiculous. You know? You got to stand up and say that because it matters. Because the way that people are following and the way that people are shifting and contorting their thoughts to make things that doesn't make sense, we got to stop doing that too. If you listen to some of the podcasts and the way they talk about the music industry, my God, y'all are going to be on a dislike tirade. It is not good. We are constantly sharing misinformation. It's actually getting very dangerous. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and get started with this video right here. Let's get started.
So Kendrick is just done. Like, wait, we don't really care about Kendrick and Drake no more.
No, we established that he was just one of Jay-Z's pawns. Maybe he was not a pawn. He could have been like a rook or a knight or something, but he wasn't the main guy.
And okay, we'll get to the Jay-Z freestyle, but when I went out last night, I got in the Uber. It was like a middle-aged, like, Arab. I don't know what he was.
Yeah.
But he was bumping that new Drake. When I got to the club, they're bumping pure Drake. And I was just like, I just had to take a moment. I was like, yo, like, The man actually reestablished the order in hip hop as
What order in hip hop is my question. Reestablished it where? That's my question. Now, please understand this. When it comes to Drake's music, pay attention how he didn't specify which era of Drake they're playing. Now, are there people out there that want to request Iceman songs? Yes. But there's a harsh reality with that too. In certain spots, it's going to work. But in a lot of spots, it's hit or miss. The city is damn near split down the middle with the new 3-drop projects. They prefer older Drake because that's the best version of him. The newer Drake, like I've been saying in my videos, doesn't have that kind of relatability that people can attach themselves to, right? So that's something we have to establish right now. It's not as cookie cutter as people think. It's pretty rough around the edges, if I'm going to be really honest. It's like a little kid with the safety scissors that don't cut, and you trying to cut out like a circle. You might think you hitting, but you cutting out a triangle by this at this point. Like, I'm just going to sit here and be honest. I'm not saying they're not playing Iceman. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's hit or miss. That's what I'm saying. If we're going to tell the truth, we're going to tell the truth. Am I saying, oh, nobody wants to hear it? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Is that not a problem? Is that reestablishing hip hop, like the hip hop sculpture? Is that what it's doing? Because I promise you it's not. Let's go ahead and make that clear. Right now, a nursery rhyme is what's hitting off of the 3-drop or the 3-project drop. So what are we really talking about? You can play Shebang, you can play Janice, and you can play What Did I Miss? And sometimes National Treasure. But mind you, when people play National Treasure, a lot of people can't even rap along with the bars either. So the same points that they're going to have with Kendrick are the same points that apply also to National Treasure. Tell any of them to rap National Treasure on the spot. I know I can't do it, but ask anybody to rap bars off of National Treasure. Have we ever tried that before yet? I'm just asking questions. It's actually crazy. Let's keep it tall.
As it was, like, I'm not gonna lie, I did think like when Kendrick dropped "Oh Watch the Party Die," I thought there was gonna be a shift in hip hop. I thought shit was going to change.
You thought the party was gonna die?
I did. I'm not gonna lie.
But that doesn't do good for you as a DJ.
We've already established this. We already talked about this multiple times on this channel. Let's keep it tall. Like I said, I think in my last video, the party is so down bad right now, they're trying to hold on to what they got. But the fact that you're trying to hold on to something that's not working anymore, it just shows that you can't let go. That's damn near an addiction. Is that not a problem?
DJ?
A reset can be horrible, you know? Like, we went through a reset during COVID.
Nah, fam. That was a delusional thought, fam. No diss to you and any of the Kendrick fans, but like, as a DJ, you want people to shake their ass, you know, forget about their week. This is what the club is there for. Why do you want to go to the club and sit there and think about shit?
But okay, respectfully.
So if I was to play nigga in Paris, that's going to be a problem? And now you're boxing. Here's the thing. You want to say no disrespect to Kendrick fans, but by saying that point, you're boxing Kendrick in as if this is the only thing he does. That is far from the case. You trying to sit there and say, oh, why do you don't want people in the club to sit there and think? So when you play Good Kid, Mad City, what is that? When you play Humble, when you play DNA, when you play TV Off, when you play Squabble Up, when you play Hey Now, what is that? When you play N95, when you play Savior, what's that? When you play King Kunta, what's that? That King Kunta's a bop. What are we talking about? Last time I checked, people be dancing to that shit same way. Let's take Kendrick out the box again because that's incorrect. Let's go ahead and just make that clear. That is very incorrect.
A lot of the music that is still going in the clubs is the 2000s set. Yeah. Is the 90s set. And like, I guess a lot of it is shaking ass music, but like, you could run Lauryn Hill and it's going up.
Which Lauryn Hill?
Girls, you know you better. What? That will go crazy. The girl them are singing and all that shit. You know, you run a
Yes, okay.
Fantasia when I
can do one even better. What about the social media trend that's been going on Instagram where people's been playing a whole bunch of songs from 10 years ago? What about the 2016 social media music trend? What about that? We're playing music from 10 years ago because there's not much music to play today that can go up in the club. DJs are struggling with the new music because a lot of people are not messing with the new music. What about that? We got to sit here and think about these things for real, because realistically speaking, a lot of what they're saying is not the case whatsoever. If I'm going to keep it tall, you gotta really like have these conversations, because it can get really dangerous for people that want to learn about Toronto, or people that are in Toronto and they need something to listen to, and they're going to sit there and be like, oh, maybe they're right. No, that's dangerous. Keep it tall, keep it friendly, keep it correct. Because if not, it's going to get dangerous for us. That's why a lot of us are walking around here in Toronto and we don't understand what's going on in music, or we don't understand what's going on with artists, or we can never connect or understand what's going on in America, because there's constantly different platforms all over the city saying a whole bunch of nonsense that makes zero sense. But they're trying to word it in a way to make it make sense to people that are listening. And now you got people in the comments sitting talking about, yo, I never thought of it that way. Thought of it which way? We got to cut that out, bro. If we're going to put ourselves on, we got to put ourselves on correctly. Are people playing his music? Yes, but it's hit or miss. That's the key. Like, it's hit or miss for a lot of music today. Just say that. That's all you got to do.
see you know.
Okay.
If you run the new R&B, like, it's a Kalani Folded that's getting it done, you know? Like, a lot of the new super degenerate shit, like, it's so Minute Maid and so, like, McDonald's made.
Yeah.
It's not hitting the same as, like, the booty rump shaking as back in the day, you know?
Yeah, but you just said the operative word, the booty rump shaking from back in the days, including Rump Shaker. You can still play that till today. But Rump Shakers, shake baby, bake, shake baby, 1, 2, 3, shake baby. Oh, we on the Rump Shaker. It's like there's no value or knowledge in the song. It's just good, fun music.
Let me do y'all one even better. If we're going to continue to wave with, like, music today and how a lot of DJs are struggling, let me do you one better that a lot of people don't know what's going on in Toronto with the music scene. How about this? Let's talk about how we got UMG in Toronto. All right, there's a Universal Music Group in Toronto. They got their own headquarters in Toronto, correct? Let's talk about that. Let's also talk about how currently right now they're barely pushing any of the hip-hop artists or any of the R&B artists or any just black artists in general, right? Even though we got a ton of black artists all over the place. Right now, what they're pushing with UMG, or like their initiative, or what they're trying to do, or what they're trying to capture, is that they're pushing a lot of Indian artists in Toronto. Let's talk about that. I don't see nobody out there talking about that yet. But I'm seeing it all over the place. I'm seeing a lot of, remember, I'm not disrespecting nobody. I'm just putting some light on spaces a lot of people don't know about. And honestly, it's a smart play, because right now the hip hop scene in Toronto is super down. So you got to find something that works. And when you think about Canada in general, there's a very high Indian population here within the country. So if you start pushing Indian artists, that's going to kind of just like, they're like those citizens or the people of that culture, they're gonna resonate with that, and that's gonna help UMG build revenue through Indian artists. So that's what's going on right now. Hip hop is so down bad that they got to rely on blog pages on Instagram to push hip hop artists, and the blog pages are biased. I bet nobody's ever said that before yet. Breaking news. That's what's happening. You got to rely on blog pages that push artists. But the problem is they're all biased. So the artists that should be getting pushed, they're not seeing the light of day. And then we're going to sit there and wonder why we keep hearing the same artists. We're hearing the same sound. We're hearing the same songs through a multitude of different artists. They all sound the same, but all of them want to be famous. They refuse to let go of that auto-tune. Has anybody said that yet? No? Breaking news. When you come here and you assess, you're going to walk away so surprised that it's like, is this even planet Earth, bro? Like,
so why do you think the booty shaking music of today is not sticking?
Because the music is not as good. Like they don't make, they don't care about a bridge or even like the beat being in real marriage with the song itself. The call and response is barely there.
Hey,
like
Martin,
they don't really care like that.
So that's why I feel like a grand reset would have been good, so we could get rid of a lot of the bullshit and like, there are mad lyrical niggas that could make good party tracks.
I'm just trying to be the solution, bro. That's all it is. It's getting a little dangerous, though. So going back to the point where he's saying Kendrick Lamar is a Jay-Z pawn, I would like to know how. But at the same time, is there even an explanation out there that is possible to even say it's true? Because I promise you right now, it's not going to be true, even if you explain it. Because looking at the track record of the beef, from the beginning to the end, let's keep it tall. How did this start? It started with first-person shooter. Nobody wants to admit that. Nobody in Toronto wants to admit that. Let me make that clear. They don't want to admit it. They think it started with Like That. That's where they think they started. That's how you know y'all are just listening to the tracks to just hear things. Y'all not listening to actually hear the bars. Go back and listen to first-person shooter. There's plenty of jabs in there that was for Kendrick from both sides. And a lot of people need to sit there and realize that. So going back to the beginning, now you start to go down the timeline. Let's stop at Taylor Made, because I can't believe I got to explain this again. When Drake used Tupac's voice to say, oh, you can rap about me liking little girls, that's a gift from me. I heard it on the Budden podcast. And then we fast forward a couple tracks to Not Like Us, where Kendrick says, say, Drake, I hear you like them young. Who did he hear it from? The fact that I got to explain that again. This is the timeline Drake set up for himself. That's why you lost. And don't even get me started on the Heart Part 6. When you wave that white flag. And you wave that white flag proud, talking about that was some lyrical exercise or something like that. And then proceed to sue. You did that to yourself, gang. And why are not people admitting that? That's the real question. Let's be honest. And now, after the win from such a massive beef, now you start to go down the track record for Kendrick, where you had the pop out. And from the pop out, where did we go? We go to what? The Super Bowl announcement. From the Super Bowl announcement, where we go? Stadium tour. Or sorry, you went from the pop out to the Super Bowl announcement to GNX to the Super Bowl halftime show, and then you go on your stadium tour. And you're trying to say that's Jay-Z? But last time I checked, y'all said it was UMG. So which one is it at this point? Is it UMG or is it Jay-Z? Y'all got to choose one at this point, bro. Y'all jumping back and forth trying to prove something. Y'all ain't proving nothing. And then you trying to sit here and say that it's solidified because you had Champagne Poppy like your post. We are not a monolith. We got to constantly repeat that over and over. We are not a monolith. Let's make that clear right now. It's just getting a little dangerous at this point. Why do we constantly want to change up the history to make things work this way? History's already set in stone. You can't change that. And with all the content creators in the hip-hop space, I know for a fact they're not going to allow that. That's right, Alex. 47 shows. It's just getting a little dangerous at this point. That's why I got to say something. And I'm not saying in a way where I'm disrespecting. Because I know how a lot of like content creators in Toronto, they're trying to use conflict to go viral. I am not your source for that. I'm here for the conversation. That's all it is. That's why I'm walking this one a little different, you know? I don't want to be a part of y'all little drama because that drama is lil. That's not big talk. That's weak talk. That's all it is to me, bro. Shout out to Queen B for the $2. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and read that in a second. Hold on. To sum it up, it's not true. He's not a pawn. He is his own human being. In fact, what about PG Lang? What about Project 3? PG Lang is the label. Project 3 is their advertising. Did we forget that? Did we forget that little fact? What Project 3's been doing, their most recent ad campaigns was for Range Rover and Wimbledon. They're working, bruh. They're working. And if you look at their track record, what they've done in the past, the things they did with FIFA, the things they've done for what else? The NBPA, creating commercials, creating visuals with storytelling and proper storylines for people to understand. So there's no more ad slop out there, because ad commercials recently or for the last couple years have been really subpar, if I'm going to keep it honest with you guys. Yo, shout out to Exhibit Alex for the 10. What? I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and read these. I got to read these. You're appreciated, Flex. One love. Amen. Yes, you already know. Even when you look at Project, ooh, Lord. Hey, Exhibit Alex, 7 months. Let's go. Big member. That's what I'm talking about. But even like reading like the initial Project 3 kind of announcement and looking at the details, the goal and vision of Project 3. Project 3 wants to help brands tell meaningful stories using the 3 pillars of storytelling, beginning, middle, and end. They're not interested in one-off campaigns. Instead, they focus on long-term strategy, foundational branding, high-quality, purpose-driven work, aims to fill a void in a creative agency space, especially where storytelling is lacking. How is he a pawn if he's doing his own thing? That's my question. How is he a pawn if he's doing his own thing? Listen, all I gotta say is that silence from Kendrick Lamar, I ain't gonna lie, it got y'all hurt, bro. It got y'all hurt. The man don't speak words on social media. Y'all running with narratives out the wazoo. Y'all out here trying to create the world tree with all these different narratives. That's so destructive. And everything that we're learning about what's going on behind the scenes in the industry, especially from the last video that I dropped yesterday with Kaushi and how they're betting on songs, whether if they're going to be number one or not, bro, the industry is crumbling heavily. Streaming, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but streaming is not the future for, with music. And it's even more sad that just thought of this because I just remembered. It's even more sad how there's a lot of content creators in Toronto pushing facts about how streaming matters more than pushing physical content. Yet, when it comes to one stream, if I play your song one time, you don't even get a penny. You got to take that penny and cut it up in about 3-fold different ways because you're only going to get a fraction of the penny. How are we pushing that? Like, it's getting a little ridiculous. I believe I said a month or so ago asking if it was a poly market. I forgot. It's not poly market. It's I said it yesterday. I just forgot it. I'm trying to remember. It's God. I'm so mad I'm forgetting it right now. Hold on. Because actually it's if I'm correct, it's a hashtag in the video that I dropped yesterday. So if you checked out the video, you would get that info. But let me go and get the info for you real quick because I remember it. I just can't remember the name, but I remember I said it and I threw it down in the video. So let me go and get that real quick. Hold on, give me a second. And it is called prediction marketing. So what's going on right now is prediction marketing manipulation. That's what's going on. So imagine it's one thing to have insider manipulation, but now you have outsider manipulation. So when they run bots on different songs, different albums, whatever, that's outside prediction market manipulation. It's getting a little ridiculous out here, y'all. I'm just saying. So I think I covered that pretty well with what I was talking about. So at this point, we can start getting into the videos and all that jazz. But shout out to y'all for tapping in and listening. Real talk. You know, the other prediction market Kalshi. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but nah, I want to make sure that we do this right. So, like, I want to make sure we do this right because I'm not with it no more, man. We got to say something. We got to say the right things, not the wrong ones.